Hello and good morning. Today, we're going to be taking a look at our inner lives, the thoughts and the feelings that no one else sees. And so, what is it that fills our minds throughout the day? Because we must be careful not to create a split between the way that we act and the way that we think. Today, we'll be reading from Romans chapter 2, verses 12 to 16. When the Gentiles sin, they will be destroyed, even though they never had God's written law. And the Jews who do have God's law will be judged by that law when they fail to obey it. For merely listening to the law doesn't make us right with God. It is obeying the law that makes us right in His sight. Even Gentiles who do not have God's written law show that they know His law when they instinctively obey it, even without having heard it. They demonstrate that God's law is written on their hearts, for their conscience and thoughts either accuse them or tell them that they are doing what is right. And this is the message that I proclaim. There is a day coming when God, through Christ Jesus, will judge everyone's secret life. We are told here that our consciences are built-in guides for living. We often do things not because we think that they are right, but because we're able to ignore that voice of our conscience. Eventually, we can become so numb that the voice, we don't even hear it. And the greatest danger is that we become two different people. The person that everybody else sees, and then the person that we are in our minds, who we really are, what we really think. The good news is that this change from being two kinds of different people doesn't come from trying to follow all of the rules perfectly. Although there is a place for following rules, the most important thing is to make sure that our hearts are in the right place. Reading through the Bible, we notice that there is only one perfect person. That is Jesus. Because no matter how important or admirable other people in the Bible are, they all have flaws. And the Bible is very clear and open about them. Abraham is someone who has an illegitimate son. He pretends that his wife is his sister. Moses is a murderer who tries his best not to do as God asks. David sleeps with Bathsheba and had her husband killed. Peter denied Jesus and ran at the first signs of danger. Saul, who later becomes Paul, persecuted the church and murdered Christians. He's the one who wrote this verse in the first place. But these people are not looked up to because they always acted perfectly, but because they set their minds on God. Even when they failed, it was their desire to do the will of God and to love Him. Because what matters is the inside. It is the heart. And this is not to say that actions are unimportant, but they are secondary to having our minds renewed by Christ. The actions will change after the heart changes. We are to be cleaned from the inside out and not like the Pharisees, who Jesus calls whitewashed tombs, meaning that while on the outside they may look good, the inside is filled with all kinds of disgusting and rotting things. And this is why Jesus calls us to love God and to love people. Love requires action, but it is also a mindset. It is a mindset that says, regardless of how things go, we will respond in the same way that Jesus responds. Without the mindset and the heart change that comes from following Jesus, our actions will be empty and meaningless. The fact that Jesus sees our secret life is not a call to shame us into doing better things. It is an encouragement to examine our secret lives and ask Jesus to make the changes within us. This is what Jesus speaks about in John 3 when He says that we must be born again. The fruits of the Spirit are the result of what comes through this changing process. They are the result of heart changes. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control are all things that can be seen externally, but they are born internally. So today, let us examine our inner lives and ask God to fill us with His Spirit, to shape us into people whose inner and outer lives are marked by love.